welcome to another episode of An Accidental Retiree. I'm Tammy E. And today we have a writing update for January. And I do this in the middle of the month, so it's really kind of a January, early February, and then it'll be February, early March, and so on. And I have a cleaner right there in the background. We kind of have that up high from our grandson, so that it's out of reach and handy though at the same time, because we need it. We need it often with a 3-year-old and cats and dogs and, well, 1 dog, 3 cats, 3 adults and 1 child, 3-year-old. So anyway, and that's the main reason I don't get a lot of writing done too, is because I'm watching my grandson quite a bit, and my daughter's home like during the day right now, but then, she tried a new schedule on 3rd shift, and that's not working that great for us, and so she's going back to 2nd shift, which will work better, I think. Because she'll be home when he sleeps, and it just he sleeps better if she's home, I think. So it works better. Anyway, he's taking a nap, which he had his, visit with his father's and his father's family, or his father's family, and I'm not sure. They're supervised visits, so, Anyway, so, which meant that my husband and I could do things outside of the house more easily. And so this weekend we did. We even got out for dinner, and we bought 2, and that's why I'm on this old relic, which is going to be gone soon from my home. We're going to be getting 2 lazy boys that will work for my daughter and myself. My husband likes our old wingback chair better because it's up higher for his hip thing. He had a little sciatica type problems in December, and so now we're conscious of that, and he doesn't like recliners, but I wanted kind of matching, and I think it's nice for my daughter to have a place to sit. And these are rockers, which it's just like what I had at my daughter's home, but now I have 2 of them here. So, and my daughter, I don't know if she's taking that with her whenever she moves, wherever she moves. It's years out in the future, and she needs to sell that house first, and all kinds of things have to come into place. And she's still waiting for her divorce, which is 3 years in the making. Which is another reason why I don't have much to say about my writing. I did do some polishing of the 2 chapters that I have done. I did some working on the characters this month. But because this is historical fiction, I am finding I need to research. The story I'm writing right now takes place during World War II. And so I have decided to do some background research. I have some pictorial history that I picked up, and because there are a couple of books that will deal with this time frame, and women in World War II, which the book I'm writing is more of a home front book, but there might be some things that come up in the other book that now I'm kind of anxious to write, but I have to write this one first. Also because my ancestry in Wisconsin is German. I got Germans in Wisconsin because the very first book is going to deal with the immigrants and also the Civil War, which I am reading this book, which is supposed to be an ancestor of my grandson. So I'm kind of interested on that point of view. In that very first book, I might have this person play an appearance because my great-grandfather, this was the speaker before Lincoln at Gettysburg. He did like a 2.5 to 3 hour, I don't know, at least a 2 hour address before Lincoln. And an interesting character. Anyway, so my great-grandfather, I gotta think, great-great-grandfather, two greats, is my my great-great-grandfather was at Gettysburg, and he was one of two people in his platoon that survived at Gettysburg, and he fought for the Union, and he was, I believe, a German immigrant's son. I have to, there's a lot of research I have to do, and I'm not, these are fictional characters, but they're based on people in my family loosely, extremely loosely, because I don't know very much about my great-great-grandfather, but his story would make an interesting skeleton of a character for the first book in this series. So, and that's really what my family members, ancestors are, and even myself, will be skeletons of the story. Although at some point I really want to write a memoir of the actual year 1968 for myself, and then I don't know if I can fictionalize it. I'll have to figure out how I can present it to the public, because it's an interesting year. It's the year that my cousins lived with my family. But I learned that there's a lot of really peculiar things in my family when I found out I had a half brother, and it's just like a lot of things. I don't know. So anyway, I'm having fun just fictionalizing things, and it's a good pastime. Now, I have also kind of a story within a story kind of going on, which I will be connecting the books with a narration. I have not written that out, but that's a plan. I might actually write that out first before I go on with all of the rest of this book. And I had a thought of how I really wanted to start the book, but I decided now I'm not going to do it that way. So some writers write more than one project at a time. That's very common. And it's kind of neat because I could really start writing some of the other books too within this. So, there's that aspect. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that some of my viewers have offered great ideas, because I struggle with that outlining stuff. I'm better at writing into the dark, and they mentioned writing into the dark. And so I did a lot of research on writing into the dark during this month. Though that is not really writing. Now, did I write? Oh yes, I did. I wrote some really wonderful things that I want to put in my new series that I'll have coming up soon. The Pathfinder series, which will have mysteries and, sort of the cold cases, that type of thing. And also historical cases. But the reason I will always do them is that there will be a point, an elevated thinking about whatever has gone on to cause whatever happened to occur. The reason being that I really think, even today, especially today, after the things that my daughter has gone through, being a victim of domestic violence, I do feel that there are laws that need to be changed. This process that takes my daughter 2 years to still not be divorced from her husband and not able to move on with her life is a way of re-victimizing. And there are many things that happen from even the very beginning of that relationship and even before that set my daughter up for possibly this path that need to change. So there are lots of different laws that I see that need to be shared up, and they're not going to be popular with some people. So, all of it will meet resistance. but some of them may not. And so the ideas that I have, I'll have to start writing them down more. So that's going to kind of tear away from me being able to really, concentrate just on my fiction writing, because sometimes those things are a little more important. The fiction is more of a hobby, as is anything, because I'm kind of retired. I'm looking to get into Social Security and all that kind of thing. I don't collect that right now. But it's that time. I earned it, and I'm going to collect it eventually. I'm not that old that I have to collect it, and I am not at where, I kind of, what do they call it? Maxing out, or the best benefits. I'm 8 months, a year and 8 months. No, let's see. Yeah, a year and 8 months. No, it's less than that now. A year and 7 months, something like that, to have the full amount. And then you get a little bit more if you, get to where you are 70 and you have to collect. But I'm 5 years away from having to collect for sure. But I probably will anyway, because, who knows if I'm going to be here even in 5 years. I mean, I'm just trying to do the best I can. I hope I am here another 18 years, because I want to see my grandson growing up. Things figured out for him. So he's got a way and means to, sustain himself, because Nana and Grandpa are not wealthy, and nor are anyone in our family. So, we still want to just make sure that he's comfortable and well cared for, and able to have a job himself. Anyway, and we want to see him on a good path. And I know that's his mom's responsibility, but I still want to see that. I'd love to live to see that happen for him. My granddaughter too, I'd love to see her, going to college. And, if I'm lucky enough to be my mother's age when she passes, hopefully I'll have more of my mental faculties than she did. But I will, I'd love to see what my mother did, where her grandchildren were actually married and having children. So, she didn't get to see my lovely little granddaughter. She did not get to see her, but, because she was just born, a little while ago. But, she's cute. She's a lot of fun. She's starting to, really babble, and she takes her phone and she babbles into her phone. And last night, we were, talking on the phone, and she's babbling into her phone and, pretending to have a conversation like with me. And it was funny. It was so funny. Anyway, yeah, so that wasn't what she came to see. But, it's all, life is part of your writing. It always is. And, all of these things kind of impact it. I have other books that are coming for research on the Civil War. Of course, I, look on the internet too. I've decided that I'm going to have to keep like a little tiny record of certain, like events, and, I'll sprinkle them in. This book won't cover a certain part of it unless it covers it in a different way, but like a very close cut, my grandfather's cousin, her sons were in World War II, and one of them was wounded at the Battle of the Bulge, and my mother was with that cousin when the Battle of the Bulge occurred. So that's kind of like, my brain has kind of been on that story, because that story I can fictionalize in a different way, which causes, it's a lot of really goofy research, and it's going to definitely be fiction. Definitely. But, based on like the skeleton of my mom's life and her stories. But then again, you never know. Maybe it isn't fiction. I don't know. I could be spot on some things that I have wondered about. But anyway, I'm really interested in writing that fiction story. That one might be more fun to read. This one, I don't know. It'll be fun in a different way. It's a different sort of story, and it will have a sad ending in another part of the story. So I'm not sure how that's going to go yet. But yeah, I'm having fun thinking about it, if nothing else. But I love the idea of writing into the dark, because that really helps me a lot more, and it's a better process for me. Although outlining isn't bad, to put some of these things down in a sketch. And if I were just writing pure fiction and setting it today, it would be a lot easier, because I'm living today. I just that would be easier. But I'm finding that with historical fiction, you need to research. Even when I was trying to work on stories that are in my own lifetime, when I was going back and looking at 1968, there were things that I had to look up, so, and there still will be things that I'll have to just verify. It'll be a little bit simpler, but, because I decided I need this before I do that, because otherwise it's not going to be cohesive enough, I decided to, dig back and kind of go through that and put that as the Bible storyline that comes before the story that I really need to tell, but yet in a fictional way. So, I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. But again, it has a lot of social justice issues in it, in that particular 1968 story, and not the civil rights movement, which was going on, but other things that are related to actually some of my passions today. So, my big question in the whole series is, how did we get here in this time? And for me, it's, how did my family get here in the situation that we've been living in particular with my daughter? How did we get here? How did our life get here? And my son's situation, which is, a much nicer situation. How did we get here? How did all of this get to this spot? And the things that I've gone through in the last 10 years. So, I want to know in my own mind, what mistakes did I make? What things did I do that were right? And I think it's a universal sort of lesson that can be applied to other people's lives. And that's really what I'm looking to do. So, while at the same time entertaining. Big, lofty ideas. I don't know if I'll get them done. Anyway, I'm going to have 2 new recliners. So if I'm ever doing any videos from here, you'll see a nice little gray leather chair. And I'm trying to do a peacock theme in my living room, which now I realized I probably should have gone for a light tan recliner, but I don't think it came in that color. So light gray is going to work fine. It'll be pretty with peacock. I have the green going. I have some teals in here, but I really wanted to get a peacock colored sofa or chair at some point, or I wanted, so I'm looking for something in that peacock color for a sofa, which I'm going to have to save up for. We had something kind of picked out, but we decided we didn't have enough in our budget right now for it. So I couldn't get my husband to say yes to that. He was kind of on board for it. And it turned out that we needed the leather, and then we decided, I was going to go for a fabric, but the fabric would have been just as much. So by the time we were said and done, and we have the cats, and my mom's sofa is still good, and it's so hard for me to get rid of my mom's sofa. My mom's sofa will be 20 years old in 3 years. It just didn't seem right when we were thinking about doing it as we were on the way to look at stuff to get rid of this sofa. We decided to try steaming it, keep it a little bit while longer, put the new curtains up, and go from there, because we may decide to move in 3 or 4 years to a condominium type thing or something different. So we're not necessarily going to forever stay in our home. We're hoping to in some ways, but in some ways we know, yard work is going to get more difficult. The shoveling and stuff, especially with, some things that have cropped up this year for not just me, but my husband too. So we'll be in this house a while yet, but, we're just taking it one day at a time. We never know. You never know. Maybe my grandson will grow up in this house. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But, and that would be okay too. So, until next time, sorry this is a little disappointing that I didn't have a lot done. I didn't say, oh, I've got 4 chapters, 5 chapters, 6 chapters done. That was my goal, but it didn't happen. And I don't know if that's even my goal next month. But I will be updating you on what research I've done. And I will be updating you on whatever writing I have done. I hope it's a little more than what it is right now. But like I said, we're still working on a major spring cleaning, major house reorganization, and then also doing a little redecorating too. So only so many hours a day and only so much energy when you're 65. So until next time, goodbye for now, and